Who created God, or where did God come from, or God created the universe, where did God come from? Who created him? My explanation is somewhat different. I'm going to read a lot of this to save us both some time. First of all, we need not explain where God came from or his beginning. Our physical universe is roughly 13.7 billion years old. Before the Big Bang that created time, there was something. You cannot get something from nothing, since nothing is zero or null, does not exist. What we need to be concerned with is how the past, back to the Great Expansion or the Big Bang, occurred. Before our current universe was another universe, but we have no knowledge of that universe. Physicists tell us that if you take the projection of the galaxies and go back, like pool balls on a table, you go back to a time about 13.7 billion years ago, and before that you can't figure out what was happening, because that wasn't, that was something that happened before the Great Expansion and time in our universe was created. We cannot understand eternity because we are finite beings who live in a short span of time of less than 120 years. We can think about what happened at the second of creation, but what was the universe 15 billion years ago? To say, we have no way of understanding that. We have no tools to examine that prior universe. It seems to me that only two scenarios exist for God's beginning. One, God has always existed in much the same form as today. That's the traditional Christian and Jewish belief that God is pretty much the way he has been for billions of years. Two, God developed or evolved over a period of billions of years in a universe different from our current universe. Since eternity has no beginning or end, probably, God could have evolved during the 100 billion years or more before the Big Bang. That prior universe probably had at least 9 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension. And I get that from what physicists say, that in the first second of creation of our universe, that there were at least 9 spatial dimensions, and some of those have collapsed. Now we've only got 3 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension. The chance interaction between energy strands, if you want to call them that, would have been many times more than our universe with 3 or 4 spatial dimensions and 1 time dimension. There's some evidence that there are 4 spatial dimensions, but that is another theoretical and complicated logical discussion. The big question remains, is there a God in the Milky Way Galaxy and in the 21st Earth century? How can God be 3 and 1, or 3 and 1? Each human being is 3 and 1. We have a physical body, a mind, and a spirit body. Water can be liquid, ice, and water vapor. God appears to us as 3 persons. On some other planet in another galaxy, God may appear as 1, 2, 3, 4, or more persons or entities. My hand is a portion of my body, right? But I have 5 fingers on one hand. If I place 3 of my fingers in a fish bowl, the fish may perceive me as 3. 3 fingers swimming around in a fish bowl. So how can it be 1? The whole reality outside the fishbowl is that I am 1 with 3 entities in the fishbowl. But in the fishbowl, their reality is that there are 3 entities going around. So I hope that explains somewhat who created God. Well, we really don't need to know, because before there had to be something, and before that there was something else. If there wasn't anything before creation of our universe, about 13.7 billion years ago, we wouldn't be here. So as hard as it is for us to understand, before the beginning of our universe, there was something else. Something existed. Thanks for watching. And remember, a big question is not who created God or what God was like, say, 15 billion years ago, but what is God like now? What's God been like in the last several thousand years? Thanks again for watching. Goodbye.